Alright, today we are going to talk about subtracting fractions. We've already talked about adding. Now it's time for us to talk about subtracting. There's not a whole lot of new stuff. It's going to be a continuation of yesterday's step-by-step sort of thing. So you already have a good background of that, but we're going to be subtracting these fractions. Your I can statement, I can use my strategies to subtract fractions. Oops, I forgot a period right there. I should probably put one in. I want to make sure that I'm a good teacher. All right, Rose bought 4/6 yards of copper pipe. She used 1/2 yard to repair the shower. How much pipe does she have left? This is a standard story problem that we might have. We start with a bigger amount, this amount right here, and we're going to subtract the smaller amount we're going to take away to find out how much she has left. So step one, in this case, because it's a story problem, we're going to write it down. But on your in your notebooks yesterday, step one for adding was always check the bottom number. We got to check it off. So we check the bottom number and notice this is 6 and this is 2. So we got to do something with that. So starting with that, we're going to go ahead and do a lowest common multiple chart right there. I've already drawn it out for you. We have times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4. Sometimes we have to go further than that, but we're going to go ahead and start there. Well, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. And 6 times 4 is 24. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. So we go ahead and stop there and see if we have anything in common. Of course, you can use the fraction or the multiplication strips. Those are a really good resource, and you can find what they have in common. But we should see that they have a 6 here and a 6 here. So we want our bottom number to become 6. All right, what do we do next? All right, so we did our first step of check the denominator. We did our second step of find the lowest common multiple. And our lowest common multiple was 6. So we want to get this bottom number to be 6. Well, if we look at this fraction, it's already there. We don't have to do anything to this because we want to make that bottom number 6. So we're going to go over to this one and think, okay, 2 times what equals 6? Remember, I'm not timesing by 6, so I won't get 12. I'm saying 2 times something equals 6. What is that something? Okay, you should have 2 times 3. You could also check back on your lowest common multiple chart, and it'll tell you, okay, well, the 6 I multiplied by 1, but the 2 I multiplied by 3. And what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. I was noticing yesterday a lot of people forgetting this little thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring the 4/6 down here because it already has a 6 as the denominator. And I'm going to put my equivalent fraction 3/6 here. Remember, I got 3 because I multiplied 1 times 3, and I got 6 because I multiplied 2 times 3. So I have a completely new problem. And then we go to our next step, which is step 4, is in this case, we've been talking about adding, but now we're going to talk about subtracting. So then we subtract our numerators. Remember, we do not change the number of pieces that things are cut into. We simply subtract how many pieces we have. It's still cut into 6 pieces. So then we take 4, take away 3, and I end up with 1/6. Our last step is going to be to simplify, and I have a 1 on top, which tells me my fraction's already simplified. So this one's all done. I could also use the butterfly method on this when I'm subtracting. So if you're more comfortable, you can do the butterfly method. So we have, there's our wing, there's our wing. Remember, the problem with the butterfly method is you're probably going to get something that you're going to need to simplify. That's real big. All right, so we're going to times here. 8 times 4. $32. Then we're going to times across 8 times 1. Remember, we are not adding or subtracting those numbers. We're timesing 8 times 1. And then we're going to times 5 times 4. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract these two. 20 take away 8. See, this is the problem. I told you we're going to get really big numbers. We get a really big number of 12 over 32. Notice that both the 12 and the 32 end in a 2, which means that I can divide that fraction by 2. So I take 12 over 32. I could go ahead and get a greatest common factor. I know a lot of you were really trying your best on that one. I was seeing a lot of people working on that. But if it's even, you could simply just divide by 2. You may not get it right away though, like we have right here. We have 6 over 16, which 6 and 6, the 6 on top and the 6 of in the ones column of the 16 say that these numbers are still both even. So I'm going to divide by 2 again. And now I notice that 3 is on top. That's the prime number. So then I'm all done. So my answer to this problem is 3 over 8. Let's try the same problem, but let's use lowest common multiples. So in this case, step 1, check your denominator. It is different, so I'm going to go ahead and make an LCM chart. 8 and 4. We're going to do times 1, times 2, times 3. We're going to see if they have anything in common at that point. And you should see, ooh, they have 8 in common, which means I need to get my bottom number to 8. Well, in this fraction, it's already at 8, but in this fraction, it is not. So I need to do some multiplying to this one. I got to say 4 times something equals 8. Well, I could go over to my chart and say, oh, okay, well, this was times 2. So I'm going to do times 2. What I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I have a brand new fraction of 2 on top and 8 on bottom. That means I'm all done with this part. I've used it all. I can take it away because I'm not even going to look at that anymore. I already got it taken care of. So now I'm going to have 5 minus 2 and 8. We keep the same because I don't change the number of pieces. So ultimately, even though the butterfly method seems to be less work, this got us to a final answer faster. We didn't even have to simplify on this one. We just used those least common multiples. Knowing when to use the butterfly method and when to use the lowest common multiples is totally up to you. If you can already pick out something that these two numbers have in common, I would totally use the lowest common multiples. But when you can't pick out something they have in common, you might want to consider the butterfly method. I'm still going to do lowest common multiples because that's my favorite. The 10 and the 4 are different, so I make my LCM chart. Times 1, times 2, times 3. And we don't have anything in common yet. Times 4. And I don't think that I'm going to get anything anytime soon. The only thing that I could... Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. If I keep going here... Okay, times 5. Aha! We have found it. Notice that we have the 20 here and the 20 here. I thought we were going to have to go all the way to 10 times 4 and get 40. And in the butterfly method, that's what we would end up with. But we're going to take this to 20. So, over here on the problem, I need 10 times something that equals 20. And I do the same thing on top. So I get a completely different fraction of 14 on top and 20 on bottom. Once I do that, I'm done with this part. I don't need to see it anymore. Now I'm dealing with 14 over 20. Over here, on this other fraction, I need to get 20, so I'm going to take 4 times 5. I'm going to do the same thing on top. all done with this part. I don't even need to look at it anymore. So now I have to subtract my numerators. I got 14 here, take away 10. And 20 stays the same. They are still even. We still have to divide out on that one. We have to simplify on this one. They're both even, so of course I'm going to divide by 2 first. That's just something you can do if you're not quite sure what to divide by when they're both even. And still they're both even, so I have to divide by 2 again, because 2 and 0 are both even numbers. And then I'm going to get 1/5. And I got that as my final answer. Okay, so you're going to go on over to your class kick after you've listened to my video and all of your notes are in your notebook. You need to make sure that you're getting all your stuff taken care of quickly so that you don't come to my table and don't have your things in order. Your clue today is the digit in the hundreds spot is divisible by 3. I haven't had anybody get a correct guess yet, so make sure you're thinking about all of your clues. If you don't remember all of them, you can go back and listen to my videos. But today's clue is the digit in the hundreds spot is divisible by 3. All right, happy mathing.